Hey guys, Eric here from Marked and Made, and today we're going to talk about the xTool booth at CES. So we just got back from CES, which, if you didn't know, is the Consumer Electronics Show. It is the largest tech trade show in the world, and it's held annually in Las Vegas. So we just got back from Las Vegas. We had a great time. My wife and I flew out. We recorded a lot of content, but this video is going to be specifically for the xTool booth and everything that we saw there and what we learned and all the juicy details that we can share. So, we also did an interview with Stein that will be posted in a separate video, and look out for that recording. It should be dropping in the next couple of days. But in the meantime, let's get into their booth. This was held in Las Vegas again. xTool's booth was at the Venetian Expo, which was where about half of the booths were. There was a lot also at well, maybe not even quite half. There was a lot at the Las Vegas Convention Center as well. It's spread across multiple properties, and there's really no way to see everything when you're there. So you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to look at. But this year, xTool went all out, man. They had a 4,000 square foot booth, over 4,000 square feet. They brought tons of machines, tons of people, tons of new technology, tons of existing technology, and everyone was just amazed at what you can do and how fast you can do it with some of these machines. So, of course, they had the F2 Ultras on site. They had uh, a bunch of other machines like their F1s, their F2 Ultra UVs, their apparel printer. They had the MetalFab, which we'll have a clip of in here as well. They had everything that they offer right now, as well as some new stuff. And we'll get into the UV printer here in a moment. They also had their retail solution on display, both the retail marker and the actual retail solution tablet. This tablet is not currently available for purchase, but unless you're a retailer and going through their retail services team. However, it is really cool. We have a version of this installed in our store as we are a retail specialist at Marked and Made. So I'll be posting some content about this more in depth than the one that they have, but we don't have the big tablet like this. So I wanted to get some footage of it while I was here. Basically, what this allows you to do is to connect to one of your machines. It can connect to both some of the F series machines as well as the apparel printer. And it allows you to have your customer have a hands on immersive experience in designing that themselves. So they can upload an image, they can add text, they can freehand draw, and it will automatically place that drawing or image or whatever they have onto the item that they've chosen from the menu to engrave and show them a preview. And then from there, you can either allow your customer to process the order themselves, or you can download the XCS project completed from the back end and process that on your side if you'd rather maintain control. And again, this can be done with images on their phone. They connect straight to a web server and upload it, or through things that they type and upload. And you can apply some AI filters. And it's just a really cool experience for the customer, and it's really going to change how a lot of these things are being viewed in the public, especially when they can get their hands on it and see it themselves. Save settings and all of that for each material, so it's really cool. Of course, they had their xTool education there with some of their make block toys, which is where xTool kind of started from and their roots are. So that was really cool to see that they're still continuing that avenue. And then here's their retail marker, which is basically a souped up and F1 Ultra in a different enclosure. And it's really cool for retailers and simplification of using that platform. So overall, yeah, their booth was awesome. Of course, they had their metal fab on site, as I mentioned before. So Monim was in the back. It was great to hang out with him again. He was running metal fab projects all day, every day. They had their M1 Ultra on site, to a couple of those. It seems like they're coming out with a new M1 craft machine, or a new version of a craft machine this year. We don't have details that we can share just yet, but when we get those, we will be sure to share them appropriately on everything we know about the new craft machine that it looks like they're lining up for this year, according to Jesse, who spoke at CES. So, with that being said, let's dive into a little bit about the actual UV printer, which is what most of you guys are tuning in for. So, in their back room, they had a VIP area that they're calling their black room, and it was really cool to get to come in and actually see that. Since we had media passes, we were eligible to go ahead and record a little more than most folks. So we were able to bring our camera in and talk to them and really get some information that we could share. So what we can confirm right now is going to be super easy to use. It is a little bit smaller in size than some of the UV printers out there now, so it will be able to be placed on a desktop. It's not tiny, so it's going to be able to fit a good bit of material, but it's not so big that you have to dedicate, 100 square feet of your shop for. So that's really nice that it's going to be desktop. Currently, it is in terms of resolution at 1440. So that's a pretty high resolution for UV printing. It's what our current printer prints. Its speed is currently clocking in at 200 millimeters a second. It is unidirectional only right now, which means it only prints from in one direction. In this example, it's from right to left. So as the carriage moves left, it prints. They will be increasing that to 600 millimeters a second, and they will be increasing it to be a bidirectional printer as soon as they get some of the calibration flukes worked out. And that's not because it's not something they can't do, but it's something that it's difficult for users to maintain. And xTool's all about lowering that barrier to entry. Since we have a UV printer, we understand the struggle, and I'm glad that they're going through the extra trouble to kind of nail this down up front because we spent hours calibrating ours to get it perfect. This is a lenticular print, so that's really cool. It can do lenticular printing, like that butterfly there, where you turn it, you get different images. That's done by printing 4 high resolution images on one piece of material. You can get that lenticular angle, so it's able to do those. It's able to do texture printing, and that's kind of what we know right now. We do also know a bit about the new Rotary. Before we get into that, this is a quick video of the souvenirs they were giving out. So you could basically send them a picture of you, and they would let you go ahead and print, a little souvenir of the xTool booth with your picture in it and xTool CES around the outside. But speaking of the Rotary and what we know that it is going to be capable of working with the Rotary. We don't know if the Rotary is going to be included with purchase or if it's a separate accessory. Knowing xTool, they'll probably do a bundle or give it for free if you pre-order or something cool like that. They're really good about doing promotions on their new machines, so we're excited to see what that looks like. This is what that Rotary looks like. It will not work with the RA3 or the RA2. It is its own dedicated Rotary. It's not going to be a high drop printer, so what that means is you're not going to be able to like take the handle off and print the whole thing all the way around. There's too much height difference. You would hit the handles. There's no way to really get that done unless you have a what's called a high drop printer, which is really only available in industrial applications. And those printers are uh, multiple factors more expensive than what this one's going to be released at. So we understand the challenge there, but you will be able to print all the way around the top or all the way around the bottom. And if you have a flat sided tumbler that's not tapered like a 40-ounce Stanley, then you should have no problem wrapping the tumbler all the way around as long as it's a pretty parallel surface. One other thing that we learned was for print and cut is that there is going to be a built-in feature for basically an auto print and cut that will work with the xTool P3. So we're assuming, and we did talk to the product managers a little bit, it's going to print a registration mark that's going to be auto recognized by the P3. And basically, you'll be able to put that in there and print on the xTool UV printer and then go in and cut directly on the P3 with just a single button press. So that is super exciting as well. You, of course, will be able to use it with a Lightburn print and cut as well if you import your own registration marks and you're currently using a Lightburn capable laser, but it's exciting that they're going to be building in basically an xTool ecosystem of print and cut to make it super easy, and that will help them compete with companies like Trotec and things of that nature. So that's very exciting. And yeah, that's pretty much what we know about the UV printer. So overall, we had a fantastic time. We got to meet with a lot of friends. We got to catch up with a lot of folks that we know. We got to meet up with Nick from 6A Woodwork Stein. We have, again, that interview dropping with him shortly after. We have a day or two to really get back in the saddle here. We just got home. So keep an eye out for that. It was so much fun. I definitely recommend going to CES if you haven't gone before. And I think that you guys would all really enjoy it. So hopefully next year you can get out there. We will share more info as soon as we have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you found this content exciting. And I will catch you guys in the next one.